Ciao Colin, ciao Bambini. We are back for round two, first ever episode of 2022. That seems to work. Uh, if you're watching this on the replay, there was challenges with the big, fancy, expensive mic. So now I'm on the travel mic. But Happy New Year. Here's hoping RuPaul, who's also back on everyone's set, as we're back on your YouTube channel, doesn't have the same technical difficulties. Good luck to her. How are you, Colin?
I'm sure she
How was your break?
it was good. I'm sure RuPaul has like some drag queen like working sound and stuff for her. She doesn't do it herself.
She doesn't even do a fucking makeup.
Uh,
She's definitely not doing sound. Yeah.
yeah. Raven is actually on a boom mic. Like my holiday was good. I feel like I've just been talking about it. Yeah, it was good. It was drunk. Did all the usual kind of obligatory drinking sessions and eating of chocolate for breakfast. And then just watched a bunch of 90s films because I got so like upset with like the offering like from current times. I was like, let's just roll it back to the 90s. Death Becomes Her, To Wong Fu, like The First Wives Club. I was on a real tip. So yeah, how was
Yeah.
yours?
The movies like the chemicals in the womb that turn someone gay. Like no one comes through the 90s
Yeah,
watching them.
that
That's
was
about
it.
it. Yeah. That was just good. It was
Pro-
quiet. Yeah. We cooked, we had neighbors around. It was really sort of pleasant. We're also back in 90s town. I sort of mentioned we should pour some out for Betty White, who left us, who went back home. And I said, I feel weirdly, not, I don't know if I'm guilty about it, but it just seems strange to me that James and I completed a full Gilmore Girls, I wish, Golden Girls rewatch of, just speaking of 90s shows that turn people gay. Um, yeah, we watched the Golden Girls the whole way through in 2021, and then at the end of it, Betty White has the rudeness, the temerity to depart, and I'm like, that seems odd. And now we're halfway through a Frasier rewatch, and I'm like, well, it's superstitious now. I know a couple of them, like the dog, have already died, and two of the producers were in one of the planes that hit like the North Tower, I think, in 9/11.
Oh geez.
Yeah, that's so.
The
I'm
dad's
waiting to
dead.
see
Marty
if the
Crane, he's
curse.
off. He's
Yeah, if
passed.
yeah, I suppose we've got a year to wait to see if the curse happens. But no, that's how we went. It was kind of relaxing. We're back in 90s town ourselves. Yeah, and happy New
Just
Year to
pray
everyone.
pray that they never do a reboot because I'm like halfway through the Sex and the City reboot, which wasn't great the first time around. And
You
it's
actually,
just hope that the curse hits before they get to doing this because it's bad news bears.
I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna leave that one to you.
I'll field all questions absolutely. Like the gays are tearing it apart on Twitter and rightfully so.
Right, fair enough, fair enough. No, cool. All right. So, I mean, it's funny. We had technical difficulties, which was maybe the same thing. Like a cable was doing the process of trying to work out what happened the final episode of last year when it didn't happen. I think it was a cable issue. And it'll probably end up being the same with the mic issues now. But the upshot of that, because before Christmas we were going to do the fish card, is that here we are. It's Thursday for you, which is Jupiter's day. Jupiter's just moved into Pisces. The moon is in Pisces. So it's like fish and water for days. And it's one of those funny things that, well, it won't go in the book because I can say that with every confidence as I'm currently writing it. But I am just keeping a list of the weird things that happen. And it just seems like Jupiter itself wanted this episode to be where it is, and for people who are watching along, it's a bumper episode clearly, because we Colin kept himself a little bit busy over the break.
Yes. Yeah, just doing the usual doodling away as Santa sort of swept down my chimney,
Phrasing,
delivering nothing but coal and tangerine.
phrasing. All right. Do we want to just jump on in? Is there anything else to say to bring people up to speed about the new
I
year
think
and the
we're good. I
break?
think we've had a dry run, we've had a wet run. Let's go for
Yeah.
it.
Let's see. And I'm going to go back to the curse box of because it's so, I'll send a picture. It's so pretty, but I'll send a picture in the Telegram group afterwards. If you do a lot of live streaming, like professional live streamers, so not us, use these little decks so that you don't have to kind of like click and lose yourself, which I've been doing for the better part of a year. but it, fingers crossed, it works. Shall we begin with the sun?
Let's shall.
And I mean the sun in the sky, not my son Toby, who we will also see later in the episode. So talk us through it. It's really cool. It's the right kind of creepy. I fucking love it.
Yeah, the feedback when we were discussing it on the show was it was dealing with light levels and just kind of like sort of fixing the raider who is just jogging off into the sunset there.
She
Yeah,
or
so
they,
it
more
was just
specifically, they
she
also are
they
carrying a few
he
extra Christmas pounds I can see in that silhouette.
I think we have to just trying to make it as ambiguous as possible. And then just like figuring out the sort of I like how we got from the kind of the initial kind of sketch was the tech. We were going for that kind of graphic tech look potentially,
Yeah,
like Tron kind of, and then it ended up with like Mayan gold and Mayan like or Mayan or Aztec.
Maya.
I had a Christmas conversation where I was
No, it's
racist because I
Aztec.
didn't know the
Sorry.
difference, which is actually true, but I must learn the difference.
Well, no, this is
But yeah,
actually
really
Inca.
happy
So
with it.
Maya are before initially the Aztec. The Aztec are the sort of like home of their empire was Mexico City, or Tenochtitlan as it was at the time, and the Maya were kind of like coterminant with them. But this is Inca, so this is Peru.
See, I mean, not even close.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, every card is a learning
Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Like I feel like the balance has been struck with all the kind of elements. We kind of boiled it down to what we have, and I like where it's kind of ended up.
Me too. Very cool. Like this is sort of like a print it kind of one where we're getting close. I do think Mary Louise would be a bit concerned about the thickness of their thighs, but as we learned when we were doing the rider card, it's actually like the bodily. The body parts associated kind of like traditionally with the rider card are in fact the thighs and the butt anyway, so it kind of works. And there's a weird game within a game within a game of Mary Louise's journey through these cards, which I think is fucking cool. And that, in fact, does show up in the
Yes,
book.
it's worked out nice. We can always shave it down a bit, but she
No,
has
no,
a
no.
jockey
No.
essentially.
Look, if I'm coming out of Christmas with thick thighs, Mary Louise is coming out of Christmas with thick thighs. That's just how we're doing it.
A lyric from a Willem song strikes to mind, but I will not darken the earlobes of your listeners to that
Very
one.
good. Very good. All
Tell you
right.
off. I'll tell you all in the telegram.
Very good. Now, speaking of Mary Louise, we move on to a long vanished card, returning once more. Tell us about the Tower.
Tower. So this is a work in progress. But I think the feedback the last time round was it was a bit maybe too Disneyland sort of castle, which was fair enough. It kind of was like it was kind of I just was working with like a silhouette just to get the shapes and stuff. We're now down to like structures and making it a bit more knobbly and kind of the idea was that it was structures on structures because it was like
Gormengoth.
the kind of yeah. And the kind of the rotund sort of unhealthiness of bureaucracy, all that kind of stuff. So we were going for like an unhealthy kind of mass of kind of tower, not just one
Unhealthy and
singular.
rotund. This is a Christmas deck officially as of now.
And a homophobic attack.
Yeah.
But I love so far. I'm like the everything is where it needs to be. This is just get the detail in, fix the light in, and kind of I think maybe add in some foliage and sort of add in like a little more detail and then kind of fix the lighting.
It's cool. It looks like a picture I grew up like it was in my family home growing up. Dad had it's a real 70s thing, but some sort of framed print of a photograph of like a sandcastle, but it was someone who obviously was a professional sandcastle artist, so that it was super detailed and not just like an upturned bucket.
That's interesting. That's interesting. One of my references was sandcastles. Like I was like Googling, like, people do it like in competitions, they do like sandcastle making and stuff. And that was one of my references, unbeknownst to you. So there you go.
There you go. It's in there. I'm really happy with
I think
it.
I think that's where the sort of June-esque coloring is coming in, is that I'm thinking of that, even though you can't maybe see it on the display, but there's like it's like a rolling kind of it's a rolling sort of horizon of fields and stuff that'll be more clear once we fix the kind of because I spent ages doing that background, so rest assured that will be fucking showing up in the cards.
Very good.
So that well, that's the it's kind of it's getting there. I'm happy with it. Like I think I was kind of putting off because I was just like, oh, there's like I felt like there was so much to do. There was a block to it. But I'm kind of happy with the shape and the volume and everything and the kind of the level of detail that I'm going into with it.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that's in danger of being like a print, because it's good.
I
We'll
am
see where that goes.
telling you, see when this is done, this the house card and the heart card are going to be the best cards in the fucking
Yeah,
deck.
always the way. No, I'm very happy with it. I think this is one of those like examples of how we have um, we are what would I call it? Fortune's fool supremacists. Like I think this is the best tower card, or will be the best tower card I've seen, and that's really cool. So well done. Moving on to the moon. It is Konsu kind of looks like Michael Jackson. Um,
as as he should.
but I think you're right that having like a face in the moon is the right thing to do. And I think I mentioned
Mhm.
last time that the San Pedro cactus actually does bloom at night, which I didn't think it did. So it's just kind of added that whole
Yes.
extra component to it. But yeah, talk to us about the moon card and Michael Jackson.
That was the when we left that off. It was the subhead the flower the bloom was just a black silhouette. You suggested like to show it like show like the whiteness of it. And that really and I was like, I wasn't sure. And then I kind of did it and I was like, that is chef's kiss because it
Yeah.
kind of it balances out the kind of whiteness of the moon's glow. And we contoured out Konsu or Kansuan for the gods, just to kind of make it less obvious. Is this the most up to date one? Yeah. No, that's fine because it's the same one. So do you reckon that maybe needs it? Oh, I see where you're getting Michael
You see the
Jackson from.
nose? The
It's the
nose is like
nose.
a Michael Jackson towards the end of his life kind of nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you what do you think about that? Like maybe make it more subtle and just like really subtle because that's kind of it's smoothed out and kind of just I've blended the sort of face features in with the sort of the man in the moon face features that are there like in the moon on the moon.
I think,
So we can
yeah, it's a good question. I, maybe I'm just fixating on it, but I think it looks like a Michael Jackson nose. We're going to ask people in the chat when they catch up to us. But like, there's a couple of ways you could, yeah, you could make the nose less prominent, so it's kind of just more of a creepy eyes and mouth kind of thing. I'm not sure. I just
ooh.
now maybe I'm just fixating on it, and it isn't that noticeable. But I literally see Michael Jackson's collapsed nose in
Yeah, but
Consu's
it's
head.
the as yeah, because it's like an upward tilted face, so it's like the shadow of the
Yeah,
nose. So that's obviously it's making it look like a skeleton's like sort of the nose sort of hole you get in a
yeah.
skeleton.
Which
So
I
we can
don't
add
mind
in
for a
we
statue.
can
I don't mind for a statue,
yeah
but I just think at the
we
moment,
can
yeah, maybe give it a bit
we
more of the
can
Raven treatment.
blush that out.
Well, other than that, like this is again, this is really cool. This is the personality of the card is coming through, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be, which is it is just the moon, but it is also the moon in an occult context, which is helpful
Yeah.
because it's sort of a bit one note in traditional Lenormand. But you know, well done, yay us!
Yay.
Creepy no nos. Nathan seems interested. Like we can give that a shot. Just yeah, or just blend it out and see what happens. But it just at the moment it's a bit,
Mhm.
and it might actually make the face. If the nose is less obvious, it might actually make the face less creepy. I mean, more creepy in a good sense.
Which is good, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of like that. The reference for me goes to the woman that was like the mask on Doctor Who. She was like just a stretch of skin on the old like 2000s Doctor Who.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that could look cool.
yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else to say about the moon? She's pretty much done. Did he done?
Yeah, we just a little nose job and she's on her way.
I know the feeling. Yeah. All right, onto the boobs. The boobs of a young Salma Hayek.
Lovely.
Yeah, talk us through.
So hold on while I update. This was yeah. So this is the card as was as it was done. It was at the level it was at. I haven't touched it since the last like non-show. At the time, I was happy with it, but now I'm like, I want to. It kind of looks like CGI Lara Croft, kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fake person. So I think I'll do a run through and give it more texture and stuff, and highlight the key. What do you think about the red key that has the little Fortune's Fool's symbol on it and all that kind of
I
stuff? What do
like
you
the
think about
idea of
the
it. I just wonder if it's a bit lost. Like, I wonder if the
yeah
key needs to be a different
yeah because there's a lot
color.
of red. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of red on the image.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's it's everything is in place, but it just needs to be, sometimes a boob needs to be jostled about, just to get the
Oh
right
yeah, you
fit.
gotta,
So
depending on how tight the vinyl top is, you gotta ease yourself into it for sure.
yeah.
Um,
And then funnily enough, in my 90s rewatch with Death Becomes Her, as I do with all these movies, I immediately go and like look at the Wikipedia and like I need the facts, I need the tea behind the scenes and stuff. The movie poster is very similar where it's like what's her face? The alchemist in the movie, the Lisa, I can't remember the great actress, like can't remember her name. Isabella Rossellini. Her cleavage is like the centerfold of the poster, and it looked great. So that I was like, oh, maybe I can implement that somehow because it's like a great. There's a good subtlety to it, whereas this, and it has the sort of immortal liquid as the veil is like sitting in between her breasts.
very cool.
So I might do a run. I might have with new inspiration do like another run over with this.
No, cool.
But yeah, I enjoy doing it. It's breasts. It's always fun. They're great. Who doesn't
Yeah.
love breasts?
Yeah, I think if it needs a full complete run through, I think you're right. Like it is a bit too Lara, and I'm just a bit concerned the key gets lost. But if you're gonna, I mean, maybe this is where the idea came from in my deep little unconscious gay brain from the poster in the first place. But everything is mostly like this is exactly the energy of the card. It just probably
Yeah.
needs, yeah, yeah.
And it has the same sort of line as the clover card. So it's like the sort of the flash bulb of like
Yeah.
so that we're on the same sort of like I don't know if it's the premiere or whatever on this casino boat, but like, there's or like it's its launch like flight or whatever, but it's she's maybe looking out for the clover guy. I don't know, the elf.
Maybe they have a torrid affair. Who knows? Um, but no, that's cool. I'm pretty happy with it. Well, I'm happy with the direction of it. So it's definitely one to play with moving forward. And so the doggo. Shall we move to the doggo?
Yes. Where are we? Let's go. This when we left off was the Halo needed fixed and just a sort of adjustments in the sort of like the background was it was too flat, so I just want and the fireflies that I had at the time were a bit too um sort of CGI. Don't know, I guess it's all digital art, but like they were a bit too crap. So I wanted to kind of go back in and sort of just sort of build the texture and sort of do something with the halo. Added a lot more texture to St. Guinevere himself. Was St. Guinevere a boy dog or a girl dog?
Guinevere was a boy.
Boy dog.
Yeah.
So added a little more texture to the goodest boy. And yeah, this is where we're at.
I'm very happy with it, and I love the
It's
kind of
cute. I like it.
yeah, the Firefly kind
Um,
of stuff and the X-Files mist. It's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that it kind of on the surface was going to be a simple card, and then there was just a bunch of elements, it's like sort of story elements to get in, and we were like, well, maybe we'll have to drop. But I think everything we wanted to get in there is in there. And we didn't even need to put the snake in because I think I think the
Doesn't need
idea.
it. Yeah. We got kind of like snake imagery and river imagery, which is more or less the same thing for me in half the cards. So the doggo gets a card to himself. Oh, wait a minute. Have you vanished now?
Me?
Oh no, you're still there. Good. Sorry, I'm
Oh.
watching the levels like a hawk, given what happened before.
Waiting for catastrophe.
Awesome. This one's basically done, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so. I think this the ones I've sent you, like they're it's so the process for basically done cards will be at my end. I'll do like test prints and stuff just to see, because I don't know if anyone knows this, if anyone is maybe a digital artist or graphic designer or whatever, like the printing process, this will be like, like you with like the mic and all, like that's like a catastrophe. For me, it's the printing process, because that's when everything like you really need to adjust everything. So I'll go through the process with that with them and see what needs to change, just so we get the best kind of results.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah.
Nice. All right, move on to my son, Tobias.
This this was a process, let me fucking tell you. Because once we'd done the man and the woman card, I went back, and what at the time I was like, oh yeah, this is like nearly basically done. But this was done, this is like Jack in the middle of like the deck. So the basically when you look at the man and woman card and then you look back at the old child card, it was like a cartoon versus like relatively realistic kind of depictions of people. So I kind of had to go back in and like redo the face, take it, like brush out the lines and things. Up till I think this point in the deck, I was like doing line work and then coloring, but now and then it evolved past where we don't have like line work. We're just doing kind of a more painterly style. So yeah, it ended up being a lot more work than I anticipated, and I'm still kind of like, where do you land on this face? Because I've done about 3 versions where I'm trying to make it so you remember at the beginning we were joking about how terrifying a lot of the child cards were.
Yeah.
That's because it's really hard to fucking draw kittens, apparently.
No, we know. Right,
so like enough. Without making them look terrible. So I went through like 3 different faces so far just to kind of make it look, or to get close to it not being like terrifying. Maybe kids are just innately terrifying. Maybe not all child sacrifices are bad, because I had to throw a couple of these in the bin, like they were that not good.
I'm pretty happy with
what
it.
about you?
Like
yeah.
His new face is quite good. He seems, as you say, happier and less benign. I still have concerns about the highlights, but we can look at that as you go through the printing. Like his left hand, I'm not. Anyway, this might just be my screen again, but like in terms of the face and the layout and everything, I think he's done really well. I think it looks really good. I think there's a personality to it as well, which is good, because that's the other thing. Children, one of the reasons they're creepy is that. Do they all have the one personality? Is the personality children of the corn? What's happening?
Yeah. So they know a little too much.
Yeah, because the man and the woman card, I mean, we lifted the personalities from copyright material, but they both have personalities. So it's good that you can kind of see that this is a human. And
this marks the first card that, like, literally. So we've done like things that go out with the kind of or step up in front of the inset. This is the first one that will step in front of the sort of title card at the bottom, where we'll like where the name will be, which I thought was like good child energy. Like it's just going off out the bounds, and it's not playing by the rules. Literally drawing outside the lines.
Dennis the Menace energy. The
yeah.
Spades. No, it's good. Yeah.
So we can fix the lighting and get this little fucker to the printer.
Yeah. The only thing, I mean, this is later on in January for you, I guess, and a little bit of February, is whether it ends up being too busy with the Jack of Spades. But we're going to have to, just because a lot of the card is covered. But who knows? It's just something to factor into.
Well, the good thing about that is that with the cards done, which I like, this was totally planned, guys. This is exactly how we wanted to go. Because we have done them together, we can plan and like draw around the card, like the insets, so we're not like, when it comes to insets with cards that are like stepping over the inset, we can kind of draw around that, so it still has that fun of kind of something coming above the inset, but it's not taken away from the image itself.
Yeah.
So that is again totally planned. That's exactly how we planned.
Same with the mic difficulties. This is all a flawless production. heading in the right direction,
We're
and not
geniuses, okay?
literally just making it up as we fucking go along. All right. Shall we head on to the pigeons, to the birds themselves?
Yes, 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 yes. This one was just this was just to get it like this one is like to get it to the finish level. Crossroads is where it's done like this
Yeah.
is in the dungeon done like so it was again this was another one that had still had like line traces in it, but we don't do that anymore. So I had to kind of smooth everything out and slightly kind of jostle things about, add in a few more birds because the middle of the card was a little empty of it was just like sort of mist and stuff. But yeah, this was like the first card that was like for me was like I think I was like, oh, this is going to be a really good day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to kind of finally see it kind of finish.
Yeah, me too. It's wonderful. And it's just, you've added more Hitchcock energy to it, which is
Yeah.
not in the like original meaning of the deck, but it is in our cinematic universe, which is a term I invented. Like he was a consulting director, right? The Hitchcock energy on it
Oh,
is so good.
yeah, and I was talking shit earlier about the child being the first card that steps over the sort of the nameplate because this big bastard pigeon does the exact same thing. So there you
Yeah,
go.
but this one's busting out of everything, right? So
Oh, true,
if
yeah.
we go back to Toby, oh no, he is a little bit. Okay, so Toby and the pigeons are
This
named for the
this
band.
nosy this nosy Nelly was the inspiration.
It's excellent. It's really really cool. Again, best bird card in any Lenormand, which is I would
Yeah.
say it's the same. That's it for all of them. But then we found that weird possum deck or whatever that had really cool
I
UFO
know,
shit
right?
going on.
I was like, I was brushing up, I was finishing off the Fox card, and I was thinking about the Possum deck today. Like, I was literally like, I think I need to buy this goddamn
I
deck
think
because
so. It
like I
would
want to see
like
what it looks like.
somebody scroll back up through the Telegram group and repost that link because I'm impressed. Oh no, I'll just find it on Benabel's blog. That's where I found it in the first place. So yeah, good. It's where I
A
find
good
all my shit.
find.
All right. Speaking of the Fox, next card. And can I just point out that I know we will get to the playing cards eventually, but I absolutely love the clubs in this. I know we based it on a deck that I have, but I'm just really excited that we have like old timey French looking clubs
Yeah,
as what was going on. I think it looks
that's
fucking
like
great.
literally when you were like flaunting that card deck, and it was like an old French one, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember the end of the. And I was like, that's like where in American Psycho when they're all looking at the font of like the business cards and they're like jacking off to it or whatever like that. I was like, that is the one. So I was like, yeah, that's I would like to kind of go in that direction for the. We'll finalize all that stuff with the insets because that all works together. So everything will be set in stone. But I like this kind of it's kind of slightly rustic. So
Yeah,
I like
so good.
yeah, same.
Yeah, it's and to remind people, I mean, obviously, if you've picked the sold out like all singing, all dancing deck, you're going to get one anyway. But otherwise, the playing cards, like a Fortune's Fools playing cards, that are usually probably the ones that are done or used on the casino boat, the interdimensional casino boat, will be available as well, which is why we're going to such trouble with this rather than just using off the shelf images,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, yeah,
That'll be like
Fox.
that'll be like a summer drop or whatever. They're going to
Yeah.
be
Oh, and you know what? Like
NFTs.
we've got to get it done for this deck, so it won't be that much further past it. But anyway,
Oh, Fox.
tell us about the Fox. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This was another one I was like, oh, like I was finishing up today and I was like, this one just so this whole midriff, I don't know if we had the chat. Well, we didn't have the chance to talk about it in the on the show, but I was like the whole midriff of the deck after the pigeon card I was working on it to a different style and stuff. Um, and everything was kind of coming in good and well shaped, and everything was kind of more or less done. And then I just left it sort of to ferment because I was like, well, that's nearly done. And then I went back and looked at them, and I was like, oh, there's actually a lot. Like now, like it's a testament to how the deck's evolved, like artistically. That I was like, oh, there's a little bit more that we need to do here. So that's what it was a pleasure to fight because it's one of the Fox is like it kind of was one of my favorites as well. Getting a lot of favorites, but
Well, you want that as we
it's
come
like
to the end of the
children.
project. You want to be like, you don't want cards where you're like, God, this stinks, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't want.
yeah. But I love this was another one where there was a lot of story elements and it all kind of worked out. Like we have the kind of weird UFO spotlights, we have the abduction kind of thing, we have like the chickens all kind of like dumb as fuck as chickens are, just sort of mincing about in their little beds. There's a good expression on the fox's face. We've even got the eye patching because he's a pirate. Like there's a lot of we got everything in, and I'm kind of happy with the kind of like the result and the light. I've kind of done a make Manola where I just invent lighting because that's more important. Storytelling and visual storytelling is more important than physics.
There's a
So
there's a line, or there's a story from the production of Lord of the Rings about that, where they invented a light for Kate Blanchett's eyes called a Galadi light, and it's basically fairy
yeah, that's
lights.
right.
Yeah, fairy lights wrapped around sort of like
To
a
give that
wreath.
glow.
Yeah, and if you look at them,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
got little dot eyes in it. And someone asked the Andrew Lesney. Someone asked him like, "Where's that light coming from?" And he said the same place the music is coming from. And fucking
Nice.
nice.
As she like, I watched her in that Netflix movie, the End of the World Comet one, and Jesus fucking Christ, that's a handsome goddamn woman. Like, still to that, I think she's a late her 50s, but she is an absolute, you know,
Kate
icon.
Blanchett is perfection. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no other word for it. All right. Anything else for the my? I think my favorite is the chicken in the top left. That
Yeah, top like yeah. There's a hidden chicken behind that. Like if you, well, you'll be able to see because I've sent you like the full size, just in the shadows, even more gormless than the last.
because that one is gorgeous.
um,
That's absolutely captured.
yeah,
Yesterday,
he's not even looking at the dangerous part of the
that's
fox. He's kind of
perfect.
looking at like the ass end of
So
the
last night, obviously,
fox.
it's summer down here, right? And we have many chickens, and it's summer, so the doors are all open. And I'm walking up the central hallway of the house, and I can kind of look out onto backfield, and it's almost sundown. Like it's about 9 p.m., maybe about 8:45. It gets sunlight. We get sunset around 9:15 ish, right? And I can see this one solitary chicken. We've got like 30 birds. This one solitary Barnevelder, and they're night blind. So if they don't get back to where they sleep, they're just gonna have to fucking wing it, literally, right? And it's just walking up and down the central fence on its own, like off on some kind of. It is minutes away from being night blind. I'm like, what is going on in your head? And the answer is nothing, right?
Nothing,
Because it's a
absolutely
chicken.
nothing.
But it's just sort of, what are you doing? And why did you leave it to the last minute? What is it? You Christmas shopping? What is this? So,
That was actually me in Christmas Eve. So true
well,
story.
that chicken has exactly that energy. All right,
Yeah, it's cute. It was yeah.
uh, shall we move on to the bear?
Yes, let's shall.
Look at this. Very nice.
This I am. I, this is one where I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like really good at this because this was a real. We kept kind of like hacking at it and going back and forth and like, is it done? And then no, we can do that. And then even at one point, I was like, I'm not quite understand. Me, the person that's drawing it, was like, I'm not quite understand that there's like an imbalance. Like, and I was like, that's just how that is the process. You can't see what's in front of you. So yeah, this is she, and I love it. The only thing that I'm going to smooth out is there's an outline where the bear's face is with the inset, and it's like the kind of white. I'll fix that. That's just kind of it needs a little modulation, but otherwise I've got like there's like flare light where like we got again. This is one where all the story points are in there. It's still a bear card, but it has all of our kind of fun like background to it. There's depth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we all
Yeah.
right? You're
One of
like,
the
have
things.
we lost the sound guard? Don't tell me we've lost the
No. One of
sound.
the things I was just thinking about is I like the eye has improved too, because I remember Jason saying when we were on the card that like the eye just looks like a white dot, and I'm like, well, it is a
Yeah, that was
supernatural
a
bear, but
it was a Mike Mignola again, art dad like inspiration because that's how he draws like at like supernatural animals like that are gods or whatever with like these big kind of creepy white circle eyes. But yeah, once I was so again once I so the last it had line art and once I kind of brushed all that out and kind of I essentially had to redraw the bear, but once that was all gone, the big circle didn't make sense because it's no longer like a comic book drawing, if you know what I mean.
No, it looks really good. I'm happy with it, and it's got all the pieces that it needs. Yeah, and it's the fun Captain Planet card. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so yeah, you're kept busy. Well done, well done.
It was a good time.
I
It was a good time.
Yeah, I every time I went to sit down, not every time, I did some of it, but every time I went to sit down to work on the book, the Q1 course is on protection malefica, and I'd sit down and it'd be like, right. And then, oh shit, I should do this for the course and this for the course. So I actually spent quite a bit of time over the Christmas break on like cursing and protection magic. But that's actually weirdly enough freed up quite a bit of January to work on the book. So the unconscious does what it
Nice.
does, I guess. The gay
Yeah, well, I'll
unconscious.
say we have three more cards to get through.
Yeah.
So my expectation is with the next 3 weeks, it'll be a couple of bumper with just like work that I've been doing, like sort of going back through the catalog of the deck and kind of brushing things up. Maybe I'll finish the house card. Who knows?
Maybe.
That's going to be the big reveal at the end of the series. We're not even gonna touch it. I know it's in the
It'll
inset
be like a
set,
mud
but
hut on an African savannah.
change of venue, guys.
Yeah.
You got to pivot in these interesting times.
Oh, now I want a Dogon hut. I don't know if I can get that anywhere in. Damn it. Oh well. Next deck. Next possum deck. Yeah.
See you next year.
All right. Well, we should move on to the fish. This week's card. It was supposed to be the card at the end of December, but again, astrologically, let the stars have it. Jupiter's in Pisces, the moon's in Pisces. It's a Thursday for most of you. Let's do the fish, right? And I think, and I looked at a couple of books for this. No one seems to make the direct Jupiter connection explicit, but I mean, what else would it be? It's a fun and independent freedom card. It's really easy for me to work out. So I have Jupiter, well, currently I do have Jupiter in my fifth house, but I have Pisces as my fifth house, which is the house of like creation and whatever. But it's also the house of like fun and play. So for me, Pisces and fun and play are generally associated, and it works really well for the fish card. Far away from you isn't good. So if you have it in a spread, right, it means like, not having a lot of fun at the moment. My good bitch is what you would say to your client. My good bitch is what I'm sure Lenormand said in French to to all of your clients. But like the modifier for that is that you can actually be near. You can be in for a period of super fun if it is in relation to like Clover and the sun and what have you. So you get a like, let's say you're a male querent or male identified, and down comes the man card, and kind of like around it is sun and Clover and fish and so on. It's like, are you in Cancun right now, or like are you? Because that could actually be like a really lucky party boy. But generally, it's like, wow, you're having the time of your fucking life at the moment. So it's a fun card. It's a fun card to see where it is in relation to others. So when you want it at the end of a linear, if you're doing a linear spread, like, yay, this is going to be great. If it's behind you and far away, and you're kind of like assessing someone's psychological health, and then it turns out they're going through a divorce or what have you, like, yeah, that tracks. You're a long way from the fish, right?
Mm.
So yeah, really good card to have. We are going to jump over to Cunt Board, which I now have a button for. And hey, that worked. All right, now I mentioned the hidden depths thing at the beginning. One, because it's in the fucking card, in the meaning, quote unquote, of the card. And because we want to do this kind of like GoPro thing with it, where I'm just going to start at the bottom because this is one of my favorites, right? So we want seed this, and again, don't fuck with me now. I want it to be tuna because they're an abundant fish for much of the world. The chicken of the sea, speaking of chickens. But this is kind of the look of, let's just say, 2/3 of the card where you're like scuba diving and the school of tuna is coming towards you. But the top of the card is that kind of GoPro look where they're near the surface. Coming back to it. Boy, this is such a slow website. It's just such a... Anyway. And there are other you can look here. This is a really fun one anyway. Probably like this is a bit more abundant. So even these are just kind of like fish references, right? Just to get the idea of the blue and the silver and so on underneath the water. For the surface, what I would like, so Venice, I think it still does, I'm not sure. There's a lot less tuna in the Mediterranean these days, but they actually, for centuries, they used to have a tuna festival where the Doge or whoever would kind of like welcome the boats back in after the first tuna season, right? So there's all these sort of like ornate Venetian boats coming back into the lagoon. And that's probably too much to, like, we're not going to do that full festival, right? But we are going to, which one am I going to pick? These people having fun. But if possible, maybe to the left of the inset, we have like a small little Venetian boat or two
Oh,
on the
nice.
surface of the water, because like mostly it's going to be taken up by fish, and then like maybe the top 20% of the card, so about halfway up the inset, is going to be this kind of real classic GoPro looking thing, and some sky above it. But if you can have like maybe one small ornate Venetian fishing boat kind of thing, that would be
Mhm.
great. Either far off in the distance. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it can just be fish in the sea. But
Yeah, we can have like a touch of like the Venetian sort of skyline in the like across the sort of
oh yeah,
horizon of the
that could
water
work.
line, if you know what I mean.
That might even be
Just to give
better.
it that kind of
Yeah.
to give it place. That's great. And that's a great suggestion for like it being on the left hand side because and that kind of tracks with like the Lily card had the majority of the sort of the upper sort of third of the card is like on the right hand side,
Yeah.
and just because it's a body of water it just kind of balance. I know I get in my head this isn't in my head it all appears in a row as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's like it's a fun kind of balancing act, which I think is good.
But that's
And
borne out, right? Like
sorry.
when that's borne out when I put together all the cards, like where we're at when you came on the main podcast, looked at it, go, wow, this actually ended up. It's good that you have that eye
Yeah.
for it. Like this ended up balanced from a light perspective, from a color perspective, and from like a layout perspective. It actually looks all like the one thing. So yeah, on the left, I think is the right way of. Maybe I just
How
unconsciously
good that
picked it
we
up. Yeah.
how good that we are good at this
Yeah.
saying. And
uh,
also it sees a return to the added the Fool's Fortune, that the artwork we see in the on the opening video. So it's
true.
good to see a return to the kind of that kind of waterline kind of trick. And
Yeah.
again, that's like a line work comic booky thing, and we're now in a like what's behind Gordon just now.
Yep.
So it'll be fun to see how we've moved on from that and evolved as artists.
Yeah.
But yeah, so old dog, we'll get another shout out.
I think it's
We'll
going to be
maybe put
good.
a crack in it. No, that's bad for the card read, but
It's yeah.
there's no crack in this card.
It's. I'm glad that we didn't find a place to put it in the deck at all. I mean, we could. No, it wouldn't work in the cross. I've got a really good idea for the cross. But or it could technically it could work in the anchor. Um,
The Kraken?
yeah.
Well, I mean, once we again part of the Inset, we'll call it the Inset mini series. We'll be finalizing the border, and that kind of there is the element of that appears as like a thematic element in the border design,
It's
and
also
I
going to
think
be
that
on the card
works.
back, right? Like it's
And the car back, yeah, that's
there's
right.
that.
So
So it's going to
he's
be
in
on
there
every
somewhere
card.
at least.
Yeah, it's going to be on every card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, it's a deck for these times.
That was the whole fucking point. Absolutely. Uh, it's worked really well as a spell for that. Like I did a post about things that I am happy about from last year, just before Christmas, and thinking back about what we've done, and it's been really good. And to have people along for it, and the contributions and commentary along the way has been really fun. It's really good. I'm going to miss it, but we're not done yet, and I still have to write most of a book, so I can't be speaking of boats and can't be standing at the dock waving. I'm supposed to be on that fucking boat. So, all right. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. If you go down the Venice route, I mean, you're pretty good at this, but you may not need the boat anyway. I quite like the idea of Venice in the horizon, but if not, just like
Right.
a boat on the sea.
Yeah.
could potentially work. But so Venice is. I did that deliberately, not just because it's a tuna festival, but Venice is obviously a place of extreme wealth, and historically speaking, that kind of like that
Yeah.
opulence abundance.
Famously.
So I wanted it to have that kind of. In my head, the card is during that festival, and the Doge is there in like ermine and silk and all that kind of absurdity and what have you.
Yeah.
But even if it's not in the card, we know it's there. So um, as
And
if
it
yeah,
kind of it plays with the ship card where it's like mercantile kind of there's
exactly,
ships come in and
yeah,
so there's like again there's a masterwork of thematics
yeah.
here.
Because there's one of my favorite Dr. Farrell books is Financial Vipers of Venice, and it basically tracks the story of how Venice more or less invented, based on modified Babylonian systems, modern banking, and it was one of the reasons they became so wealthy. And so it has that like that kind of abundance and power to it.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to put that. I'm happy to put that in the deck. And I mean, King of Diamonds is the inset because if you were to pick a card that was Jupiter, a King of Diamonds is one of them. It doesn't really require any further explanation. It's like, well, who's like the richest guy in the world? King of Diamonds, fish, right? Jupiter fish, and
Yeah.
so on. So
And I believe the sort of the actor inspiration, I think was it Denzel Washington, was it?
I think so. The one getting a
Was
blowjob.
it?
Yeah,
That's no, so it wasn't. That was the King of Hearts. He was
right.
so that was the house card, I think. So what
Okay,
that well,
don't.
I've got it saved somewhere. I'll need to go back and kind of have a look at it because it was an interesting cast. I will say.
Yeah, I think there's a few episodes left in the yeah in the playing cards. I think because it's gonna be some
It's
fun.
it's good time.
There's a Los Scarabeo tarot deck which I have called the Decameron Tarot, and it's supposed to be like an erotic tarot deck, and because it's Italian and weird. It's mostly just blowjobs. It's mostly just like people getting blowjobs underneath a table or in a barrel or what have you. I thought it was going to be a bit more like Italian cinema, that kind of like genuinely erotic. But this is just
Yeah,
more
Bellini or whatever.
bawdy. This is like some sort of
Bellini.
Falstaff joke kind of thing. Um, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see which direction our suits go. If they go in a
Yeah.
Decameron deck, a lot of uncircumcised penises in that deck. It's like you can tell it's Italian,
Hmm.
or you can tell it's European. But anyway,
Oh yeah, real European vibe.
yeah. All right, but yeah, King of Diamonds but it's also peak brilliance, right? So if you think visually of a school of fish, particularly something that's quite silvery like that in the clear water, it just looks like diamonds and so on. So it's actually,
Mhm.
you get the movement of fish through water in the King of Diamonds as well as the association. I think it's kind of like one of the other nice phenomenological ways that the two cards, or the inset and the main card actually go together. But it's like it's a card of wealth and abundance and opulence. Uh, and so yeah, King of Diamonds is the
That's
one.
interesting, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like brilliance and all that kind of stuff, power, wealth, and then it's Italy, it's Venice, and then obviously that's like the birthplace of like Machiavelli and all that kind of stuff. So it's like it's thematically all in keeping with what they do as a culture.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, we come to the fun part, the song, and I was really like Colin and I. I don't want to say we spend more time selecting a song than we do working on the card, but I don't
We do
not
now
want to
because
say that.
we're more like simpatico with like what we're doing, like so we don't need to back and forth as much. We're like, right, here's what it is, and here's what it is. The song is like where it gets dicey.
Yeah, and I was because obviously we had the technical issues before Christmas, which made the episode happen today. And I remember getting ready for it, like, or last night going, I got to get ready for Fortune's Fools, and then realizing, oh, I've picked my song. I'm good to go. Jokes on me. We had the mic issue, but it was just such a relief to go. I don't have to think of a song because I already went through that drama.
Yeah, I know. I was
in
listening.
December.
Can you believe it? I was listening to music today for fun. Like, what
Yeah.
is like just for as a leisurely exercise?
All right. What have you got?
So my mine's is a combo. One that you joked about for the ring card, but it was just a joke. Was Seven Rings by Ariana Grande because it's
Yeah.
like wealth and like and enjoying wealth and all that kind of stuff. But also on that same kind of note was Luxurious by Gwen Stefani, who it was also just we've made the money, we're gonna have fun with it, we're gonna spend it, we're gonna live like kings. Like literally that's like part of the lyric set. So yeah, that's my and also like so it's 90s movies and like that Gwen Stefani album, which I think I've used previously, is like
Yeah.
those are like coming in of age. Like I got gayer with these experiences growing up,
Mm.
so it's drawing from that well. What about you?
Yeah. So because I remember because the sort of match to that song is Fergie's "Glamorous," and that
That's
was on
right.
like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
long list.
And
But
that's the
it's
same time period as well.
yeah, exactly. No,
Peak era.
I had started from the bottom by Drake, and
Nice.
there's a couple
Yeah.
of reasons for that. One, it's kind of got that abundance and festivity and generosity, right? Because it's now we're here. But also, when I went to Miami for with Time Out to do like a Time Out conference and launch Time Out Miami and whatever, the owner of Time Out at the time, well, he still is, but it's like the private equity owner was friends with the guy who owns Soho House, and so there's a Soho House in Miami, and like we were staying on Miami Beach in a place that they do those famous like pool brunches with DJs, and I think it was a place Nicki Minaj stayed. It's just like really Miami opulence.
Yeah.
And the song was out at the like started from the bottom was out at the time or in the charts at the time. So when you'd go down to breakfast and there's the pool where they would do like the DJ would be playing started from the bottom quite a bit, and it just had that real like of course like being wealthy in this really like this Miami Beach hotel like resort thing with a pool, a place where Nicki Minaj has parties, and it's just like so for me there's a personal connection to that level of Jupiterianness, right? Jupiterness, I guess. But the second one, speaking of Nicki Minaj, is Muni,
Oh, nice.
Muni.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's
It's
a
the
bit more
old some of the
acquisitional and less friendly. Whereas started
and it's
from the
that
bottom.
one's like sorry.
No, go on.
I was gonna say that's like that's that kind of that's like a 2010s like Minaj as well, isn't it? It's like an
Yeah.
older one
Yeah, yeah.
because that's like that was like a bang. Like there was just like a 10 year like she's good now, but like that like when she was on the come up was just it was just
She did
everything was
pop on the
gold.
come up. She did pop on the come up because black women
Well, I was
couldn't
into
like be
it.
like that big as rappers or what have you, and then she got big enough to be able to kind of move more into rap, is how she describes it. Because otherwise, you get to speaking of queens like a Missy Elliott level and kind of stay there. But Missy did
Yeah.
a similar thing. Um, Anyway, so yes, there's some rap female rap history for you because it's it's an educational program now.
There
But
you
yeah, so that's my
go.
song. Started from the bottom. I wanted it to be a Nicki song. Nicki's got plenty of songs about being rich, but started from the bottom has that kind of the generosity that's in
Mm.
the fish card, if you will.
That's cool. The Miami connections is like one of my gay movies that I watched, 90s gay movies over the festive period was The Birdcage. And I've always like that set in my and the movie set in Miami. And it's just always been like that kind of even in the 90s, obviously the aesthetic was extremely different. It was a lot of guys in thongs just rollerblading down sidewalks and stuff. But it's always been like a kind of like that is we started from the bottom from there. That's like that is like that city is kind of the epitome of that.
Certainly at the moment too, because I've loved Miami since before it was a fashionable refuge from the tyranny engulfing the world, and now like
Mm.
property prices were up 50% in Miami in the last year because everyone's moving there to get away from everything else that's going on in there, the government restrictions and so on, and even politicians like AOC will kind of take a holiday from imposing these impositions and lockdowns and so on in Miami. And you think this like so Miami's become this sort of and it's just perfect for the apocalypse like the shine, the Minas Tirith of this apocalypse is Miami. Sit with that. That's weird, but it is like that's the great city of hope and defense. it's is Miami, and it used to be like for a century before it was a joke. But I liked it when it was a joke. I
Yeah.
like swamps and
I like
Latin
doing
culture.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what do you want? I like swamps. I like Latin culture. I like deadly reptiles. Come on, I was always gonna love it.
Uh, we need we need to do like a tour, like when all this is said and done, like New Orleans, Miami, like just like go to all the places,
Why
all the
not?
best places in America, essentially.
Yeah, speaking of Tu Wong Fu, why not?
Yeah. I'll get the headscarves at the ready. We're good to go.
Nice, man. Well, what are you gonna get up to this week?
So we are going to do the Fush card. Uh, choices at
Tower?
this point.
I,
Sorry?
I, the
No,
fish
I
card
heard you. I'm
doesn't.
just sorry. Sorry.
The fish card doesn't really work with tower. I mean, it kind of does if you're trying to cool the tower, and you will be doing small um, architecture. So maybe fish and tower.
Mhm. Yeah.
See how you go.
Well, at this point, it's because a lot of cards are just they're just at the finishing line, but not there. There's a lot to kind of. It's like
Just fuck with.
it'll be a shoal of cards that we are collecting at
Oh,
this
very good.
point. So,
Very good. I
eh?
suppose the other side of it is like if you're going with lushness, you can do the
Mm.
boobs card.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's true because that's so the back. Where is that? The sort of the back end of the deck has kind of come in, and a lot of them have kind of since like the garden have been kind of they've come in kind of done almost. So that one isn't done. So we'll
Yeah.
do that. We'll do the tower. We'll polish a few more diamonds and see what happens.
Very nice. Well, and guys in the chat, thank you for bearing with the technical difficulties. I have another call in 20 minutes that I think is going to be recorded. So now I'm going to like
Panic.
attempt to understand plugs and cables and all the rest of it and go
Just
through
we
it.
just have to start selling this as a feature, not a bug. Like it's just
Yeah,
part of the fun.
yeah. It kind of it like that was the whole point is to bring people along so we don't get lonely, but like bring people along the ups and downs of the process. So that's how I'm selling it. that's
Yes. It's gonna be in the
that's what it is.
book.
All right. Well, guys, once again, we're back. New season, all new queens, and yeah, God, there'll be Rue commentary next week.
Yay.
So we'll be properly back. All right, guys. Thanks very much.